Wine and Crime contains graphic and explicit content which may not be suitable for some listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
Listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where three friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents.
Oh, yeah.
And complain about how freaking hot it is in their third floor offices.
It's nice and cool over here, which is why I got my bean onesie.
Oh, my God.
The best part about that bean pattern is like the subtle like air bubbles.
Sauce and bubbles.
Yes, like little bubbles in the bean juice.
Look at my beans, they're small and humble. Thank you, Bush's Baked Beans. You have shown us so much love.
And they match your headphones.
They really do.
Oh my God. They're kind of your wedding colors.
Listen, they're not my wedding colors.
I cannot believe that we have a promo code to Bush's Baked Beans.
Oh, for this water
Dreams
bottle?
come true.
I run on good vibes and beans.
It's Wine Crime 15.
Yep. Wine Crime 15.
Wine Crime 15. Bush's Baked Beans. Go get your merch.
I always
Go
spell
get your bean
Bush's
swag.
wrong.
I spell it like
C.
Bush Light, and it's not spelled that way.
Not. Regular Bush.
Regular old Bush. They're not fancy.
My bush got trimmed to prepare for the wedding.
Bushbeans.com.
They couldn't get bushes.
Probably, but it might just be a mouthful.
I trimmed my bush for your wedding too. Because I have an in-room jacuzzi. And I gotta be smooth like a dolphin.
I'm not
so I could
shit.
slip right out, right onto the carpet.
Okay,
God
well,
bless.
anyway.
Who are we? Fuck.
Oh, fuck. I'm Kenyon, and this is the last episode that we're recording pre-Amanda's wedding.
I'm so tired.
She's in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Who are
Lucy,
you?
and I'm smooth like a dolphin, eagerly awaiting my beanbox.
I'm Amanda. That's all I can muster.
Okay, well, we have a very special gals pick for you this week, continuing
So jazzed about
Our trend,
Girl
Hog Girl
Summer.
Summer.
We have selected the topic of shocking autopsies.
Y'all.
Yeah.
I don't know why we haven't done this
I
yet.
know. It's so exciting. Without further ado,
Yep.
Amanda, what is our wine crime pairing for shocking autopsies?
You guys, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I just don't have one. Like,
Beans.
I could not get it together. So whatever you have in your fridge is fine. I'm drinking water and getting high. I had 2 cocktails at lunch with my mother. I'm ready to go to bed. I'm so tired. I didn't have the capacity to Google even a recommendation. So
Tell us what your specialty bridal cocktail is going to be.
smart. We're doing a gin gimlet as the signature cocktail. And then Bill doesn't drink. So we also have an NA ginger gimlet. That's a ginger beer gimlet.
Love having those.
Yeah, it
So
is
cute.
fucking tasty.
Love it.
I can't wait. So yeah, grab yourself a gin gimlet to celebrate my last recording as not a wife.
Yeah.
I'm about to get wifed.
Single lady.
About to be wifed. About
Wiped
to
up.
Hashtag
change my wife.
Proposeville.
You're going to finally have sex.
Oh, I've been waiting.
Yeah.
I've been waiting so long. So yeah, I'm not sober right now because I'm high, but I couldn't get my shit together. So that's what you get. Gin, sure,
Hey.
gin gimlet.
There you go. Jim
I love you.
And or an old Corona that you have
Yeah.
lying around because it's really hot.
Exactly. Is that what you're drinking? Fucking yum.
Oh yeah, you
An
guys.
old Corona.
Yeah, you guys can't see me. I was holding it up to the camera. It's fine.
So cute.
Okay.
So cute. Influencer, Corona-fluencer. I'm done.
Next. Okay,
I'm
Lucy.
drinking ice water. I got sweet tarts though.
Yum.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a sweet tooth now that you're with child?
You guys, I've been so into desserts.
That's so weird.
I have never in my life wanted to order dessert. Do you know what I had for lunch today?
What?
We went to, I don't even want to say what. Okay, for those who know, we went to the Machine Shed.
Oh my
which
God.
is by the Living History Farms. Because we were out in West Des Moines this morning. And for some reason, we thought it would be funny to go to the Machine Shed. It was
Not funny.
I ordered, for some reason, I ordered the prime rib for lunch.
Babe. Yeah, babe. You did.
It came with au jus, mashed potatoes, corn, grilled onions, mushrooms, coleslaw, cottage cheese, and a little square of cornbread and a roll with butter.
Just a light lunch.
Everything.
Just a light lunch. I'll take the smorgasbord.
It had the
please.
kitchen
everything.
fixings.
The kitchen sink bowl, please.
And Corey asked jokingly if I wanted dessert, and I asked if they had cheesecake.
I fucking love it.
I
And I'm
love
also
pregnant
so
Lucy.
jealous.
It was really good.
I could
That
have
sounds
one Jimmy
amazing.
John sandwich a day. That is what I could manage. And you get to have prime rib for lunch.
for lunch.
God damn it.
The fuck?
Not fair.
This is absurd.
I've been eating a lot.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's what Kermit needs.
Oh,
Yeah.
Kermit.
Kermit's gonna come out real thick.
She'll be thick.
That
You were a
thick,
fat
thick.
baby, so that's perfect.
So
Oh,
thick.
sweet, thick little Kermit.
Okay.
Good for you, honey. Lunch. And cottage cheese. And mashed
cheese.
potatoes.
Coleslaw,
And
mashed
cornbread.
potatoes,
And
corn.
coleslaw.
The roll is my
Holy
favorite.
shit.
It's a big roll.
Corn. It wasn't cornbread. It was a corn roll.
It was
No, it was
both.
cornbread. It was both.
Why choose?
corn loaf. I can't. I can't. That's the biggest meal I've ever heard of you eating, and I've spent like
That's like bigger
holidays
than like
with
a
you.
Thanksgiving
Yes.
dinner for Lucy.
That's what I mean.
I didn't eat all of it, but
Uh-huh.
I had a snack when I got home.
Yeah, you'll have a snack for. I'd have a
Yeah,
snack for
that
a
drive
fucking
home
week.
from West Des Moines to not West Des Moines was harrowing. You needed
a
another
snack
snack.
for your
I almost
15-minute
passed
drive
out.
home from West.
You were weak with hunger. Your blood sugar.
I was weak.
Weak with hunger.
I had tunnel vision.
That's
my
fucking
God.
hilarious. Okay.
All I had
Wow.
on the drive was a granola bar. I mean,
I had a granola bar on the way there.
No, you fucking did not. You don't have room. Where are you even putting it? Kermit's in there with
Pooping
a
a
plate and a
lot.
fork and knife. Just
I was
Fucking
so
eating
constipated
scraps.
the first semester or whatever, trimester. And now I have shit like it's my job.
good. That's a good
Good.
end. That's a good phase.
I know.
I feel good. This second semester rocks.
Mhm.
Good.
Okay, well,
All right, autopsies.
Yeah,
Here we go.
Autopsies. Lucy's in a grand old mood. Take it away. What is our background
Holy
and maybe
shit.
psych for
Okay.
shocking autopsies?
I Googled psych to see if like performing autopsies was like detrimental to your mental health. It's super not. So I don't have any psych. Okay. This is from my boyfriend, lover, baby daddy. An autopsy, also called
Baby Britannica due in January.
they have Encyclopedia Britannica merch and they have baby onesies. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah,
out loud.
we'll take care of it.
An autopsy, also called a necropsy, post-mortem, or post-mortem examination, is the dissection and examination of a dead body and its organs and structures.
Lucy's dream job. If only there were no
If
science.
there was less math, she'd already be doing it.
Yeah, this podcast
Right.
wouldn't exist.
I can observe one, I just can't get my hands dirty. An autopsy may be performed to determine the cause of death, to observe the effects of disease, and to establish the evolution and mechanisms of disease processes. Oh my God, I watched the movie Red, White, and Royal Blue last night. Have you guys heard of it?
I don't think I've heard of that.
I've heard of it's like a romance, right?
Oh, it's terrible.
I was gonna
heard
say, it
of the
sounds
book.
bad.
It's really bad. It's the one of the sons of the King of England and the son of the President of the United States fall in love and have a romance.
So it's
a
gay.
boy romance.
It is.
I like that.
It's queer because one of them is bisexual.
Sure.
They made that very clear.
Got it.
Anyway, the king, when at the end, when the king confronts his son about the scandal, he says the word homosexual.
Well,
When
now
I said
kinda wanna watch it.
processes, yeah,
Processes. Yes, that was very British of you.
Homosexual processes.
now the whole country knows about your homosexuality.
Might as well tell them your social security number.
So.
Okay, the word autopsy is derived from the Greek autopsia, meaning the act of seeing for oneself.
Oh, creepster.
Oh, auto.
I love
Okay.
it.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Auto and the opsy,
Erotic.
like optic.
Opsy.
Got it. Got it.
In the United States, inspecting dead bodies to hopefully figure out how their owners died is the domain of forensic pathologists, medical examiners, and coroners.
Is there a difference
It's
between
called-
those three terms?
Or
Or are they used interchangeably?
It depends on the context. Like a coroner might determine how somebody died. A forensic pathologist would be investigating a crime because forensic.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the medical examiner is like a higher up in your county, like the county medical examiner.
And they'll
It's like
respond
one
to, like,
person.
all
So
the things.
they'll like oversee, or
Yeah.
they're like, if you have a tough case, or you need like a final opinion on something, right?
I think so. Okay. And I think a coroner is sort of like works maybe like under the medical examiner.
Okay.
I don't really know for sure, but essentially they all do the same stuff.
Right. Cutting up dead people and looking around.
Cutting them up,
Poking
slicing
around
and
in there.
dicing.
Slicing and dicing, poking around.
In your bean outfit. I can't look at you.
What? I'm the bride.
I know. You're beautiful. You're a beautiful
I know.
bean.
You're beautiful. Roll that beautiful bean footage.
For one reason or another. So it could be religious or cultural taboos, which was like pretty much the gist of it. Also a lack of reasons or just plain tradition. It's what they did. The dissection of bodies for study didn't really occur until about 300 BCE.
Still a lot earlier
Before
than
Christ
I thought you were
even,
gonna say.
Earlier?
Yeah.
Oh,
They've been poking around in there a long time.
but like not to learn anything.
Sure. Just for
But
fun.
it was really just like, okay, they're dead. Go away now.
But it makes sense. I would assume that, like, in some cultural practices that were BCE, it would be customary to explore to try to get
What
answers.
about like the Egyptians?
Yeah, the mummies. But maybe
Yeah.
they weren't exploring.
They were
'Cause that wasn't-
mummifying. They weren't trying to determine cause of death.
Correct. They weren't like researching.
Exactly. Yep.
Got it. Okay.
Which I will get to.
Okay.
In about 300 BCE, this is when Alexandrian physicians Herophilus and Erasistratus.
I wonder if I have.
Cumulus.
I wonder if I have
so
an Alexandrian physician in network on my insurance.
probably.
Probably be a lot cheaper.
You pay
I'm
them in
gonna-
papyrus.
I'm gonna fire my endocrinologist and start seeing an Alexandrian physician.
Have an excess of yellow bile.
Your humors are off.
You should probably make a sacrifice to the gods about it.
Your humors
There's
are
ghosts in your
way
blood.
off.
Do cocaine about it.
36, you are really old.
You are so old.
Okay, so these two guys first opened them up for the purpose of studying disease. In the late 2nd century CE, Greek physician Galen of Pergamum, quote, was the first to correlate the patient's symptoms, so like their complaints, and the signs, like what can be seen and felt, symptoms basically, with what was found upon examining the affected part of the deceased. So if someone was like, ow, my stomach hurts, and then a week later they were dead, they'd go look at the stomach and be like, wow, your stomach's green. There we go.
Well, you died of gingivitis.
Yeah.
This was a significant advance that eventually led to the autopsy and broke an ancient barrier to progress in medicine. Interest in anatomy had a resurgence during the Renaissance, when Andreas Vesalius distinguished the normal from the abnormal.
The Renaissance worker.
So, for example, identifying an aneurysm. I'm not totally clear what an aneurysm looks like. I think it's a blood clot in your brain, isn't
or
it?
Bleed.
That sounds
I think
right.
It's a bleed.
So basically, they could look at a normal brain and look at an aneurysm brain and be like, huh, there we go.
Blood out.
Yeah. Something's not right.
Something's off.
Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo, ever heard of them, also got way into dissections because you've probably seen their sketches of
Yeah.
The human farm.
human bodies. Frederick II, who was the king and emperor of a bunch of places in the early 13th century, because they were just trading hands like nobody's business.
Yeah, it was a mess.
It was a fucking mess. So that guy ordered that the bodies of 2 executed criminals be delivered every 2 years to the medical schools, one of which was at Salerno, for what was called the Anatomica Publica, which every physician
Like
was
the state fair.
was obliged to attend. It was like the state fair for the doctors.
Yeah.
You had to go. You had to watch these autopsies.
That's wild.
That's amazing.
I guess I don't talk about the Egyptians. I thought I did, but you're exactly right, Kenyon. They took the organs out just to preserve them because that was just part of their
Desiccation,
Yeah.
religious
mummification.
philosophy.
Yeah,
Is
their
it religion
death
or just their
practices.
I think it was,
their
religion
cultural
that
practice.
they were mummifying these people because they thought that they would have a second life in the afterlife, and they had to be prepared for that.
Would you call that
That's
a
why
religion,
I'm being
though?
buried with all my shit.
think
Either
it
way,
was
it
part
was
of their
cultural
religion.
in some way, shape,
Yeah.
or form.
Yeah, but it was not for the purpose of digging
Research.
around in the guts and
But I don't think everyone got mummified. I think it was just pharaohs or rich people. Yeah.
yeah, probably. The first forensic autopsy is thought to have been completed by a magistrate in Bologna,
Oh, luck.
in 1302. So Antonio Benevieni,
Banderas.
Ben there, done that. A 15th century Florentine physician. I'm so hungry. Florentine, Bologna.
You had a prime rib.
I haven't eaten since my snack after the prime rib. It's 5:45.
I haven't eaten anything since second lunch.
Yeah.
And it's about time for first dinner. So
Oh my
shut
God.
up.
First dinner. You
Truly.
guys, don't judge me, but
Never.
You're pregnant.
I love this era.
I've gotten way into,
I hope you keep all of these habits.
too.
For real.
I've gotten way into Hot Pockets lately.
Yeah. Yum.
Why did we ever stop eating Hot Pockets?
A friend of ours, Dave's wifey, was obsessed with Uncrustables, and she would take a frozen one when she was pregnant. She would take a frozen one out at night and put it under her pillow because she knew she'd wake up at 3 a.m. needing an Uncrustable, and it would just be de-thawing a little bit.
They're good.
By 3 a.m., she's got a mostly not frozen but still cold Uncrustable under her pillow that she can just roll over and eat and then go back to bed.
The
Genius.
Uncrustable fairy left it.
It's fucking brilliant. I'm I'm just going to start doing that.
I have a drawer of candy next to my bed, but I've had that for years.
But now you're actually using it.
Yeah.
Does
am
it need to
so
be refilled?
jealous.
Do you need to text Corey and tell him to go to the store?
I have 2 things of candy right here. I have my leftover Skittles and my sweet tarts.
You guys, this is unreal. This
Yeah,
is
this, we're
so
processing because this is just so not Lucy. It's great.
weird. We know you like Skittles, but this is you're not a candy all the time sweets or dessert person at all.
Never.
This is so bizarre.
I've never ordered dessert in my life.
I've never seen you do it. I've only ever seen you arrange dessert for your wedding night.
Yeah.
That was it.
I am so
And I don't think
excited
you
for your
even ate
tres
it.
leches cake. I did not eat dessert at my wedding. I don't think I even taste tested them. I let Corey do it.
Well, you'll have 2 at mine. You'll have tres leches, and then you'll also have Brazilian chocolate cupcakes with raspberry frosting.
Oh, say it again.
Brazilian chocolate cupcakes with raspberry frosting.
I'm so excited.
Just slide off her chair.
Whoa. Okay.
Oh, God.
I'm melting. I'm so hot. You can't see me, but the camera can, and my cheeks are bright red. I'm
Love
just
this for you.
so
All right.
fucking hot.
Okay, the Florentine physician Antonio Beniavini carried out 15 autopsies explicitly to determine the cause of death and significantly correlated some of his findings with prior symptoms in the deceased.
Nice.
Théophile Bonnet of Geneva, who lived in the mid-1600s, basically recorded the observations made in 3,000 different autopsies in books.
Dang.
So for a long time, all we really knew from all we really knew about like symptoms versus pathologies in a dead body were from books
Sure.
from these people.
So he like collated all of that information because it had just been like loose.
The next guy kind of
Okay.
collated them. I think this Théophile guy collected all the observations and then wrote those into books. And then another guy collated a bunch of books. So many specific clinical and pathologic entities were then defined by various observers. So people are adding their own notes. It's a long comments like a Reddit list. Thus opening the door to modern practice.
It's not a list, it's a thread, but yeah, whatever.
You know what I mean. In 1761, Giovanni Morgana, aka the father of modern pathologies. Everyone's a fucking parent of something. I feel like every episode we've done lately, it's the mother of this and the father of that.
Yep.
Mother of pearl.
Yikes.
You're
That
really
guy.
high.
I'm so high.
So that guy described what could be seen inside the body with the naked eye. So I think he was kind of the one who said it was an autopsy, so the seeing it for yourself thing. So he wrote a mega important work called The Seats and Causes of Diseases Investigated by Anatomy,
Ooh.
which was a description of the appearances found by postmortem examinations of almost 700 cases in which he attempted to correlate the findings after death with the clinical picture in life.
Okay.
It is so to answer Kenyon's question, it essentially replaced all of those books that at that point pretty much just compared commentaries, so all those threads. He wrote this big book or this big collection of books that was like, this is what...
The comprehensive guides.
Yes.
Yeah, if you see
Of our time.
this, and this, and then they die, they're probably gonna look like this.
Yeah. And like consolidating all these observations that different people made at different times that said the same fucking thing. Then in the late 18th century, we get the different systems and tissues. In the 19th century, we get microscopes and the cellular doctrine. So like what a cell is.
Can you imagine being alive when they invented the microscope and
We were
realizing
alive when
all...
they invented the internet.
I know, but the internet is
Can you
different
imagine?
from the discovery
And we
of
just
all these tiny little
moved on.
things that are all over your body and like inside you.
It'd be
All
weird.
these little cells and moving little creatures. That would fucking freak. That's what I mean. That would fucking freak me out.
The episode we talked about x-rays, that first x-ray of someone's hand.
Yes.
That'd be
it's
so fucking weird.
It's just weird. It's fucking weird.
Yeah. So plus we get a widened focus on physiologic pathology, so like the functioning of the organism as a whole, and not just pathological anatomy, which would be the study of the structure of the diseased tissue. So we're not just talking about shit that went wrong. We're looking at how everything works when it's healthy also. Which brings us to the autopsy of today. And here is my favorite part. And yes, I have screenshots on the drive, which will be on the blog. On the Australian Museum's website, you can perform a fucking virtual autopsy.
The fuck? Oh!
It is so cool. Don't look at the face flaps. That's different.
Too late.
What?
Some
Did I just open?
would have been appreciated.
It's an autopsy episode.
Yeah, there's a handful of
Still.
pictures on here that will not be on the blog.
No, they're just for you.
Cannot be on the blog.
Eye cavities.
So we've been to Body Worlds. Didn't we go to Body Worlds together?
No, I went with
and
that
drove
boy
her.
that I kept dating.
Yeah, she had
because he
one
tickets. Ticket. That's
right.
the ticket.
Yeah, it's nothing you don't see at Body Worlds. Anyway, also this virtual autopsy portal is wine and crime colors, which I was attracted to.
Oh my God.
So I spent an hour doing this virtual autopsy. Loved it. I actually did it twice to show Corey the second time. So here are the steps as I took them. The first step to an actual autopsy and a virtual autopsy is a thorough external examination of the body for any abnormality or trauma. The body is measured and weighed, and all results are recorded and physical characteristics are listed. So if you had like a tattoo or something, they would write all that stuff down.
Or like a scar.
The forensic pathologist will look for any valuable forensic evidence under the fingernails, dead skin, etc., and test for rigor mortis to determine time of death by bending the elbow and the knees and opening the jaw to see whether they move or not.
Okay.
Because they won't be bendy if you've been dead for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, it'll be hard
so you'll
to...
physically
That's
barely
why
be
sometimes
able to move it.
Sometimes, you know, if people are like shoving their murder victim in a suitcase, if it's been too long, they
They
gotta
can't
crack.
do it.
They gotta crack some stuff instead of bending it.
Or
Yep.
they end up cutting them up and packing them into the suitcase.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay.
They'll also look at the clothes, what the person was wearing. They'll notice any odd smells. Almond. Or like,
Bean.
you know,
Bean. Baked bean. Brown sugar baked
a
bean.
forensic pathologist like, she smelled a lot like baked beans, and your family identifiers will be like, that's
It's
don't-
Amanda.
That's
Amanda.
just her.
That's just
She
our
died
gal.
doing what she loved.
She loved
bathing in beans.
beaning.
They will also check for lividity to determine the time of death and also clues about the position of the body. So as we know, lividity is the pooling of the blood under the skin. So if you're lying on your back for a while, your back will be kind of purplish. Next, we make the Y incision. It goes under the breasts and then down the belly.
Okay.
So a rubber block is placed under the torso to prop up the rib cage. I did this last night with a Squishmallow because my back hurt. It was very comfortable.
Okay. Yeah. They sell those. They sell those for like Pilates.
Yeah, comfy.
Just a medical examiner rolling a squishmallow.
To prop up the rib cage. It's like wrapped in a plastic bag so it doesn't stain. So the arms of the Y extend from the front of each shoulder to the bottom of the breastbone. We go under the boobs. The tail of the Y extends from the sternum down to the pubic bone and typically deviates to avoid the navel. It goes around your belly button.
Why? Just cause?
Probably
Harder to sew
because
up?
your belly button's just a big bundle of nerves. It's probably dense right there.
And it's probably annoying to cut.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The incision is very deep, extending to the rib cage on the chest and completely through the abdominal wall below that. And Kenyon knows all about that.
I sure do.
Yeah.
Mine did not go quite up to the belly button, but it got real close. Just shy of it.
Oh my God. Your abdominal wall.
My abdominal wall. Sonia's birth was traumatic.
It was a fun time.
And something weird happened that never happens. There was something with my abdominal wall, like froze or something.
She got stuck
and she
behind
got
it.
stuck.
The
And-
one crunch you've ever done in your life
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
during childbirth.
Yeah. I had a doctor come to my room afterwards and ask me like if I worked out a lot. Not a doctor that was in the room, obviously. that asked me if I like did a lot of like athletics or something, and I was like, clearly no.
Yeah. I avoid it at all costs.
That's so weird.
So weird.
Anyway.
Who knows?
Anyway. Yeah, I have a gnarly scar. It's fine.
It's hot.
Okay, so the skin from this cut is then peeled back, so this way on the gut, and then the top flap is pulled up over the face.
So
My
what
medical
so what do
examiner
they do with
cuts
the
me
do they
this
pin
way
the boobs
and
up
this
so they can get at
The boobs would be part of that upper flap. They just kind of go up
They
over
just
your
flap
shoulders.
wow.
like this?
I think there's a song about that.
Yep, there is.
Did you throw it over your shoulder like a continental soldier?
Yeah. Oh, another thing I found interesting about this, it pointed it out, but it's true. Whether you are dealing with the organs in your abdomen or like at the middle part of your body, or when they take out your brain, the face is covered almost for every step of the autopsy.
I have to imagine
That would help.
that would help. Yeah.
Well, it's covered with your own skin, so it's not like to be less gory.
but still,
But
it
just
still serves a purpose of being less creepy while no one's just watching you.
it's definitely not
unblinking.
why they do it, but it's
I
probably
know.
helpful.
Yeah.
Then when they take your brain out, they can watch you from the other way, inside,
Cool.
because your brain's out.
So you can look through the hole. Oh,
No, it's like you're watching. It's like your eyeballs flipped back and watched out through the back of your head because your brain's gone.
Okay.
Look at the pictures.
No, I'm good.
Following the Y incision, the ribs are sawn off to expose the internal organs. They just take this chunk off. The sternal plate or anterior chest wall is cut away. So I guess just this to expose the organs underneath, like your lungs. Each pathology service has its own autopsy technique, but the most common way to remove the organs is known as the Rokitansky method. And this was named after 19th century Austrian pathologist Karl Rokitansky, who allegedly performed 30,000 autopsies and is said to have supervised another 70,000. Who
That's
would have the
so
time to
many.
do that? That's so
Yeah,
many.
you'd have to only do that constantly for the rest
For
of your life, I feel
decades.
like.
Yeah, so he was probably churching it up, but probably still a lot of autopsies.
I'm doing
Wow.
the math on that.
So
Continue.
the Rokitansky method involves removing all of the body organs at the same time. So the
Okay.
heart, the lungs, liver, kidneys, spleen, etc. are removed in one block. And then they're kind of separated and then dissected on a separate autopsy table.
Okay.
So this is to keep the connective tissues intact in case...
To also be examined if needed, or?
Yeah. Or like if they remove them all so they were able to kind of look at it separately, they might find something weird about how they were stuck together,
Okay.
potentially. The organs are then dissected one by one, and during the examination, the forensic pathologist will collect small samples of tissue for further examination under the microscope.
He would have been really fucking busy because that is assuming his career was 40 years. Like he started when he was 30 and he ended when he was 70. We'll give him a long life. Okay. If he did 70,000 and he worked every single day of the year, no holidays, no breaks, no sick days, nothing. It's still almost 5 autopsies a day.
Jesus Christ.
Well, for the 70,000?
Yeah.
Because this says he performed 30, but then oversaw another 70,000. That
Oversaw,
can't be
but
right.
didn't perform
It
them, but that
cannot.
can't be right.
That's crazy.
Unless he was observing in a room and all his students were doing them at the same time.
That's what I mean. I think maybe that it's like multiple cadavers at once in like a classroom setting.
So what would it be if he performed 30,000 autopsies? He will still have had to have done like at least 2 a day.
All right, let's do this. Say that his career was still 40 years, which I think is quite generous.
Yeah.
And
Especially in the 19th
there
century.
are 260 working days a year nowadays. So I feel like we should do it by working days a year. So
260 times 40.
thank you. Is 10,400. So 30,000 divided by 10,400. Almost 3 a day
Damn.
for every working day for 40 years.
No.
Jeez.
2.88.
He must have reeked. I'm sorry, but
He must have been a real creepazoid.
there's no way he wasn't creepy as fuck and didn't just reek like a 3-day-old room temp prime rib at all times.
Yum.
You
Don't
know.
ruin prime rib for her.
She can't.
I can't. Yeah, we're past that.
He's going to be pale. He's going to be pruny and wrinkly
So
from his hands
pale.
being in gloves all the time.
Oh,
Yes.
No, they didn't wear gloves. They didn't give a shit. 19th
it's just-
century.
They didn't even wash their fucking hands.
He was elbows deep in that shit.
And then he went home
Still
and fingered his
pruny.
wife.
Yeah.
Hands are always wet. Oh, God, I hope he wasn't married. I hope he was not married. Smells like formaldehyde.
They like literally didn't wash their hands in between.
Well, they're already dead. Hopefully he washed his hands before he went home. Anyway, to remove the brain, an incision is made. is made
It's unhinged.
in the back of the scalp from one ear to the other, so around, and then again over the face. The scalp is cut and separated. Well, yeah, it's just a big ring around your head.
Mm-hmm.
The scalp is cut and separated from the underlying skull and pulled forward down over the face.
Down.
All the way down. The top of the skull is removed using a vibrating saw, and then the entire brain is then gently lifted out of the cranial vault. The brain is then either cut fresh or placed in a 20% solution of formalin to fix it for future analysis with the consent of the coroner and the senior next of kin of the deceased person.
Thousands of years from now, if like none of our writing survives,
God
or
willing,
like
none of it
digital
will
record survives, and all that's left is like skeletons and metal, people are gonna be like,
Were
their
gross.
cultural and religious beliefs meant that they had to saw open these rib cages. I don't know what to tell you. It was for the gods.
I really hope that the only digital record that survives for the aliens is this podcast and nothing else.
When you said our records, I thought you meant our wine and crime records.
No.
I'm like, oh,
Human
Jesus.
civilization.
Human civilization.
I think about that a lot.
That's what I think about it every day.
I think about post-humanity a lot.
A lot.
All the time. I yearn for it. Let's be honest.
I can't
It's a
wait.
yearning. I can't wait for my post-humanity era.
Where were we? We were on tour. We went somewhere for like lunch or something. We were just chatting, and one of us was like, would you rather go forward 100 years in time or back 100 years in time? And you both said back, and I said forward. It would be closer to the end.
Yeah.
It'll be past the end. Well past.
Not
Well
my
past.
end, but the end.
The great end.
And I was just really stoned, and I wanted to get out of there. That's what that was.
Fair
Okay.
enough.
All organs except for the intestines and stomach are weighed, since abnormal weight can indicate a disorder of some sort. If you have like a really huge heart, that could be a problem. The pathologist then drains the intestines in a sink to remove any undigested food and feces that remains.
Do you think they have to like
They
with
cut
their hand?
No, they cut a slit down the whole thing, and they kind of open it up and wash it out. Yeah, the stomach.
Okay.
That's not gonna smell good either.
No.
You're wearing a bean onesie. You can't be that sensitive.
Excrement.
It's just like the zipper on your onesie.
Yeah. Boop. Just unzip it. All 25 feet of intestine.
In my autopsy, all 25 feet is just going to be undigested baked beans. They're going to be like, what?
She OD'd on
happened?
beans.
She OD'd on beans. Her system
Anything
was
can be a
entirely
poison
overrun.
in the
Yeah.
right dose.
True.
Oh my God.
If you can die of water poisoning, you can
Yes,
definitely
you can.
die of bean poisoning.
I'm sure. I aspire to die of bean poisoning. Oh my God.
I expire to die of beef poisoning. So then the stomach is cut open and those contents are examined. And as we know, this is done to help determine the time and cause of death. Following the examination, organs are returned to the body, except for those small fragments of tissue sampled for microscopic examination. Sometimes this reminded me of is it giblets or giblets?
Oh,
In a turkey.
Giblets.
Sometimes
Hey, you put them back in or use them in the
sometimes they
fucking
put them in
gravy.
sometimes they bag them and then put the whole bag back in the body so they don't have to organize it. Like giblets,
Yeah.
but in the human.
Yeah. Human giblets.
Sometimes absorbent filler material is used to replace the organs that are not returned.
If it's evidence or something.
Yeah, or if they take a lot of samples to be examined later.
I think sometimes they also won't return it if it's been removed and it's so damaged that it wouldn't even make the transfer back in.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not like
It's just
the corpse
it's
is
falling
using
apart. No, I know, but they'll just put it in the
But
incinerator.
if it just falls apart and liquefies in
Yeah.
transfer
5
or
second
something.
rule.
God.
Oh my god.
I hate it.
Also, if they donate anything, they want to donate something.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Fair.
So the coroner and the deceased's senior next of kin will be notified of any organs and or larger fragments of tissue retained after the examination has been completed for a variety of factors. That senior next of kin is asked about preferences to return these retained specimens to the body and of respectful disposal thereof after the investigation has been completed.
Okay.
So keeping it was not an option. I looked.
Oh.
If they had to take the heart and examine the heart, for example, after they already sewed up the body, then they would have to get permission from a living relative
To
about what they
dispose of it.
want done with the
or
heart.
cremate it or bury it or whatever.
Yeah.
'Kay.
After the pathologist has finished the examination and the organs are returned to the body, the post-mortem technician will sew the body back up, and the stitching is just like that of a baseball. Just boop, 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 boop.
Yeah, just quick and easy.
Yeah.
Thick red leather yarn
Probably.
thread.
So once that Y incision and the head are sewn up, the autopsy is complete. Also, they don't put the brain back in because they have had to probably slice up the brain.
What the fuck? They just always dispose of it
I
or
guess.
cremate it or whatever.
Yeah, or
They do the
if it
same
goes to
thing that
science.
they do the same thing with the brain as they do with the little tissue samples that they take, which is probably just
Medical
yeah,
waste.
medical waste. Yeah, I guess.
Ugh.
You'd think we'd have brains
Compost,
everywhere.
babe. Compost. I'm sure they cremate a lot of this shit just for the sake of space for disposal. That's probably why we don't have brains everywhere.
I'm
Yeah.
shocked that
Too
they
bad.
don't put the brains back ever.
Maybe they sometimes do, but this website said that they usually do not return the brain. I don't.
Also,
I don't
keep in mind that not every deceased person gets an autopsy.
Right.
You know, like
know.
my
And
dad
not
didn't
everyone
get one.
gets their brain removed, even if they
Right.
did get an autopsy.
Right, because they might not do it if there was no reason to examine it.
Yeah.
Like if the cause of death is very clear and it has nothing to do with the brain, they probably wouldn't bother taking out the brain.
Good point. I think if they are driven to take out the brain in the first place, they're gonna have to slice it up and really do a number on it.
So removing the brain is not standard procedure.
It's just part of a possible part of an autopsy.
Possible part. Okay.
That's my understanding. There is such a thing as a psychological autopsy. So I guess I do have psych. Look at me. So that is related to suicidology, which is the study of suicidal behavior, the cause of suicidalness, and suicide prevention. So a psychological autopsy is a systematic procedure for evaluating suicidal intention post-mortem. It basically uses all available information, so that includes forensic exams, health records, interviews with family and friends, to determine the individual's risk factors and psychological state before their death. So it's also used to determine if the death was a suicide in the first place.
If it makes sense at all.
Wow.
So a psychological autopsy might be used in deaths without a clear mode, like I just said, without they don't really know why they died.
Sure.
Examples being drug-related deaths, could have been accidental, could have been on purpose. Autoerotic and self-induced asphyxia, like in that movie World's Greatest Dad
Sure.
with Robin Williams.
Oh.
Robin Williams did an autoerotic asphyxia movie.
Yeah, it was like a really dark comedy. His son was doing
gals misremember.
autoerotic sexual stuff.
What's this movie called?
World's Greatest Dad. And he ended up dying. But Robin Williams didn't want people to know that that's how he died. So he told everyone that his son hanged himself. So then everyone felt really bad for the dad.
Oh my God.
It's a comedy,
This
I swear.
movie
Yeah.
looks terrible.
Okay.
Okay.
Can't win them all. Love you, Robin. Okay, bye.
Also, vehicular deaths. Sometimes those are intentional,
yeah.
sometimes not. Drownings. Factors such as means of death, prior threats to commit suicide, to die by to do
Take
suicide.
their own life.
Yep. Mental disorders and settling of financial accounts. Family annihilator.
Or
Are
like
also
giving
taken
your
into
possessions
consideration.
away beforehand or some shit.
True. Yeah. I guess that makes more sense than having money issues. Okay. To round us out, I have some fun facts for us. I know my section is long because I could not get enough of this shit. Okay, fun facts. The autopsy table where we put all the organs to examine is equipped with running water. Oh, also the table where the body is. And it's also tilted with raised edges to drain the fluids.
I knew
It's
that.
like those fancy kitchens that have like a water faucet at the stove for filling a pot
pot
for
filler.
pasta.
I want one. It would be so convenient.
You don't have to move it from the sink.
It's
but
such a
eventually
rich
you have to
person
move
thing
it,
to
but
have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is. Ultimate wealth.
This was funny. The Catholic Church ordered an autopsy. This is in 1533. Ordered an autopsy on conjoined infant twins Joanna and Melchiora.
Chip Gaines.
Melchiora Ballestero in Hispaniola. I'm not sure where that is.
The island of Hispaniola is where the Dominican Republic and Haiti are.
Oh, well, these two twins lived there in 1533. So the Catholic Church ordered this autopsy to determine if they shared a soul.
And
They
the
found
results
that there were two distinct hearts and hence two different souls based on the ancient Greek philosophy of Empedocles, who believed that the soul resided in the heart. And the twins' father, this article said that he was a little bit pissed because he had to pay for 2 baptisms because there were 2 souls.
Wow,
Oh my God.
that's wild.
Pathologists use rib cutters, bone saws, but also sometimes maybe even pruning shears to open up the chest cavity.
Nope.
Yeah. I could see
I'm not
that.
sure if that's like approved, but it's way cheaper and it makes just as much sense. And the person's dead anyway, so like,
Whatever
for it.
works.
pruning shears.
I can't with the pruning shears. No.
That makes
As a
sense.
gardener, I can't.
I do not
I will
condone this.
never hold my pruning shears the same way again.
Do you have like bone scissors, like for the kitchen, like cutting like a chicken,
Yeah.
being motivated to cut a chicken apart?
Yeah.
Those are intense.
Yeah,
you got to
they're
get
crazy.
the leverage.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, the operation, an autopsy, is financed by the party that is demanding or requesting it. So if someone dies under suspicious circumstances, a state or county may call for a forensic autopsy, whereas financing privately can cost between $3,000 and $6,000.
Yep. That's just on the taxpayer a lot of the time.
It sure is. Some hospitals will pay for autopsies for people who died at their hospital, but they don't do it very much anymore, and they don't like to do it because frequently the doctors are found to be the one responsible for the death in the first place.
Yeah, there's what's in it for them. It just makes it more likely they're going to get sued.
Well, in the same vein, in the late 1940s, around 50% of all deaths in American hospitals were followed up by an autopsy. But by 2017, that rate had dropped down to 5%. But like I said, and many U.S. hospitals don't perform any in-house autopsies whatsoever. Several states, including Minnesota, have laws along the lines of if a surviving friend or relative of the deceased argues that an autopsy is against the decedent's religious beliefs, no such examination can be performed unless there is compelling public necessity.
I was going to say, so if it's like
a
a violent murder.
Yeah.
Or they died of like some really mysterious disease. We got to figure out what that is.
Yeah, then that overrides the religious beliefs. I'm surprised that hasn't gone, made the religious nuts go bonkers.
I'm sure it has sporadically. Okay, back to the slitting of the intestines.
Really? Must we?
The small and large intestines of an adult human have a combined length of about 25 feet or 7.6 meters. Extracted poop is normally washed down a medical sink, but sometimes it plays a diagnostic role. So hard poop clumps may indicate fecal impaction, which is a potentially fatal condition that leaves the colon plugged up by poop.
Yeah.
In addition to feces, running the bowels, rinsing out the bowels can reveal polyps, tumors, and other things of great value to pathologists.
I want to rinse out my bowels while I'm living.
Does that sound nice?
It really does.
Yeah, just like a fresh start.
Yeah.
I guess
Would
that's
that be
what
like
enemas are for.
Like a cleanse, an enema.
Colon broom.
I feel like I saw in Real Housewives, they can like flush water through your whole system and like rinse the whole thing out.
That feels fake, but sure.
Yeah, but sign me
That
up.
feels like something that the husband of Denise Richards does.
This electromagnetic pulse will clean out all your toxins.
It's like that gross water face thing we did at Sephora, Kenyon, that one time.
Yeah, at Sephora when they will do a little
They
pour
like
sucker on you.
They like wet vac your face.
It's standard in a lot of like hydrofacials, but yeah, they'll
It
do
was
it at just at Sephora,
The water was
just
dirty.
at the mall
and then
kiosk.
they show you like
They show you
filthy
they show you
water
the-
after.
No.
I
don't
have
wanna
a picture
see
of it. I'll put a picture on the drive. As
Of
far
your face?
both
Yeah.
of our faces, yeah. Our dirty water.
Uh,
As far as undigested food goes, it spends between 4 and 6 hours in the stomach before moving on to the intestines. So that can be like the Last Supper indication of when a person died. 4 to 6 hours. Yep.
Corn. Tomato skins.
Prime rib.
Prime rib. Is that cornbread and corn loaf?
And coleslaw and a
roll.
cheesecake
And a cheesecake? Is that a granola bar? Jesus Christ.
There's a Smartie in here.
She ate a granola bar an hour before she ate this huge lunch.
Are those Skittles?
Those Skittles. In the 17th century, lacking chemical tests and knowledge of disease transmission mechanisms, Italian physician and autopsist Antonio Valsalva
Banderas.
sometimes tasted the fluids he encountered in cadavers
Why are you doing this?
in an effort to better categorize them.
Nope. Antonio, I don't care what that was in order to do. I don't care.
He wrote that gangrenous pus does not taste good, leaving the tongue tingling unpleasantly for the better part of a day.
Yeah, that's called sepsis. Antonio.
Yeah.
I hate it.
JFK's autopsy was performed so quickly by 2 doctors who weren't actually trained in forensic pathology, by the way,
Well, we're pretty sure what he died of, but yeah.
that the original, well, they had to find the bullet.
Okay.
Bullets. But the original notes were covered in his blood because they did it so fast. When we were in Dallas, I went to the JFK Museum with John and my sister. It is such a cool museum. We have to go back when we're in Dallas. You guys would love it. I took a picture of this part of the museum, so that picture's on the drive too. But the caption of the autopsy notes reads, Commander James Humes conducted the president's autopsy on November 22nd through 23rd, so like midnight, 1963. And in his report submitted this sketch of the wounds. He later certified that he wrote the report from memory, having burned his original blood-spattered notes.
Weird.
And he said later that he destroyed them because he didn't want them to become a collector's item.
I'm sure this is some conspiracy theory linchpin.
Speaking of, in 1966, Kennedy's brain was found to be missing from the National Archives.
Do they usually keep that?
They kept his brain. They removed the brain. They kept
They like wet specimened it. They put it in a jar.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Certainly wasn't fresh.
But I guess I don't mean do they usually do that. I mean, what I meant was
Our bathtub's made of teeth.
Our bathtub's
Do the
made of teeth.
National
What I mean is-
Archives usually keep the president's brains?
That's what I was gonna say. Actually, it's like, do we usually keep like a prominent figure's
doubt it.
brain? Is that like, or was this like a family request? Like, why? Why?
I mean, the National
How many
Archive
presidential brains do we have floating around? Literally, the National Archive.
of anywhere that brain could have been, it makes the most sense for it to have been stashed with the National Archives.
Not buried with him?
Yeah,
They
that's
don't
what
put it back.
Well, we know,
Could
but
make
like,
an exception.
They kept it
That's-
because of all the shit that surrounded his assassination.
that's that was my question.
Yeah.
Like, why did they
For
keep it? Do they
evidence.
usually keep
And
stuff
then
like
they didn't
that
want to
for the
call
National
up Jackie
Archive?
and be like, hey.
What do you want us to do with this brain?
Yeah. Okay.
So his brain went missing 3 years after he was killed.
Jesus.
Conspiracy theorists often claim that the brain may have shown a bullet from the front, a second shooter on the grassy knoll. It had also been suggested that Robert Kennedy destroyed his brain. Historian James Swanson theorized that he may have done so, quote, to conceal evidence of the true extent of President Kennedy's illnesses, or perhaps to conceal evidence of the number of medications that President Kennedy was taking.
Yeah, he was on a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
Who isn't?
He was like Judy Garland of
Yay.
presidents.
Crushed it.
So I could go on about JFK's autopsy alone, but I will leave it here. My section was long.
It
I
was
enjoyed every moment.
amazing, though.
Disgusting and beautiful.
Yeah, minus the tasting of the pus. Okay.
Gangrenous.
Can we? Okay.
Can I eat a sweet tart?
Mental health sponsor break, and then my case.
Perfect.
Great.
As many of you know, we were just at Amanda's wedding,
Sure were.
which was so much fun, and I literally danced all night, shut down that dance floor,
Till you were carried out.
and I'm a sweaty Betty. So sometimes dancing all night can turn not so pretty, but I was so excited to have Lumi as my secret weapon. I had Lumi on my pits, on my privates, on my thighs,
Your arms
My-
inside of your elbows.
literally my under boob. I put some on my chest because I had a low cut dress and I didn't want, my chest to be dripping. And
Yeah.
it worked great. I am just so excited to tell you guys about Lumi. It is the world's best whole body deodorant. It is clinically proven to control odor everywhere. Like I said, pits, privates, and beyond for a whopping 72 hours. Lucy, tell us more.
It's a whole body deo. It's awesome. And they also have wipes. And let me tell you, that car ride from Des Moines to Duluth is a long one. And the wipes came in handy. And it's summertime. We're getting into fall. You might be doing a lot of traveling. You gotta pack your Lumi. Lumi's whole body deodorant, which is the first of its kind, is seriously safe to use anywhere on your body. It was created by an OBGYN who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. You're not weird. You're just a human, and your bod deserves the Lumi. It's clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours because unlike some deodorants that try to mask it with a fragrance, Lumi is formulated and powered by mandelic acid. Ooh. To stop odor before it starts, so it's more like a pre-odorant.
Even better, you know?
Yeah. And it's pH balanced for safe use below the belt. They've got you covered, baby. It's aluminum free, it's baking soda free, and it's paraben free, so you can feel good about it.
Absolutely. So Lumi's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like the mini body wash and the deodorant wipes, and free shipping. And as a special offer for our listeners, new customers get $5 off a Lumi starter pack with code GALS5, G-A-L-S, the number 5, at LumiDeodorant.com. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you visit LumiDeodorant.com and use code GALS5. So treat your whole bod.
Trade it all.
Well, after Lucy's segment, you're probably ready for this case.
Okay.
It's on par. Mm-hmm. Ralph R. Erdman was born, quote, in Mexico. No articles went into more detail than that. Just Mexico. On August 8th, 1926. Mm-hmm. In 1956, he received a medical degree also in Mexico from some establishment. And then 25 years into his medical career, he moved to Childress County in northern Texas.
Got it.
In the Lone Star State, Ralph got work doing autopsies for 5 small area hospitals. Mm-hmm. This work was private contract based, so he wasn't like a salaried employee of any of the counties, basically because they're so rural that each county doesn't really have a need to have their own one. They would just he bounced around.
Borrow each other's resources. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So he was basically a small business of one, and then he would just get these contracts to do these autopsies. Mm-hmm. But, entrepreneur, his business grew quickly.
Girl boss.
By 1983, his practice had spread throughout the entire Texas Panhandle from Amarillo all the way down to the Rio Grande.
Wow. What a spread. What a swath.
He had coroner contracts with more than 40 rural counties in Texas, although the vast majority of his cases were in Lubbock County, which I think has a higher population. And he was busy. I'm talking busier than popcorn in a skillet.
Coroners have fucking job security, man.
Mm-hmm. Busier than a moth on a mitten.
Oh, my God.
What?
She's padding her case.
Busy as a stuck-tailed cow in fly season.
Oh, so busy. That one really paints a picture.
Yeah. Over the next 10 years, Dr. Erdman performed over 3,000 autopsies in 41 different jurisdictions, so he does not even come close to...
Call me when it's 30,000. Yeah. Boring.
I know. In 1991, he performed 310 autopsies that year alone.
Slow year.
But that was a slowdown compared to just the year before. In 1990, he did a whopping 480 in that year.
Wow.
I can't imagine doing one autopsy in a workday. Imagine doing multiple in a workday. Imagine taking your lunch break and then going back and doing more autopsies.
A whole new one.
Ordering Jersey Mikes between the two.
I fucking can't.
Prime rib.
Imagine popping out for a full prime rib dinner with 18 sides and then coming back and doing a fucking autopsy.
There were so many sides.
So many sides. Heavy on the sides.
So, like I said before, there are approximately 260 workdays in a typical calendar year, which means he was performing on average over 1.8 autopsies per day every single workday for decades.
You love this math.
I
really do.
And I told you he was busier than ants at a picnic. He was busier. Amanda's so upset. He was busier than a borrowed mule.
Didn't you say you were hot and had to make this quick?
Yeah, you're the one who's been rushing this. And now this is how we're spending our time.
I wanted to look up Southern expressions for being busy.
I get it. And I have enjoyed them somewhat.
Busier than ants at a picnic. All right, but at least he was well compensated for all his hard work. Ralph's remuneration varied by county. Smaller counties with less steady need paid $650 per post-mortem performed. But Lubbock County basically had him on retainer, paying an annual flat fee of $140,000.
In the 50s? 40s?
90s, early 90s. 80s and 90s.
Pretty fucking good.
40s.
Well, when was he born? The 20s, right?
He was born in the 20s.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Which, according to Time Money Converter,
There it is.
would be equivalent to over $327,000 today. And
doing good.
that's just for Lubbock County, and then he would do like random contract call outs to 39
All
other
over the
counties.
panhandle.
It was busier than Amanda at a baked bean convention. Okay.
That's pretty fucking busy.
But as we know, pathologists often work in close collaboration with other investigators. Police may ask a coroner to pay special attention to a given injury or perform a certain lab test, the result of which could prove or disprove their theory of the case. So remember, it is the medical examiner and not the detectives who rule whether a death is a homicide, a suicide, an accident, or a natural death.
Yep.
Yes.
So in working alongside prosecutors, district attorneys, police officials, influential politicians, other local bigwigs, this guy, Dr. Erdman, wielded pretty significant power because they
Probably had people wanting to pay him to say certain things.
And doesn't the medical examiner have to be elected?
Oh, that's a good. I was using the
don't
terms
know.
interchangeably, but I could be wrong.
Medical
I feel like I've
examiner.
never found that on my ballot.
He definitely
I feel like I'd
was
remember
not
that.
elected to any office.
In Iowa, a county medical examiner must be a licensed physician and appointed by the Board of Supervisors in the county they work in, and then must be approved by the Iowa State Medical Examiner.
So they're probably appointed by people influenced by who we elect, but I don't know if they're directly elected. That wouldn't make as much sense to me to have the public elect
Maybe he was
a medical
appointed
professional.
in Lubbock County, but otherwise he was just contracted. It doesn't matter. It's fine. Okay.
It might be different state to state, too.
Basically, he's working with a lot of investigators and, like, you know, politicians who, if there's a murder or something, they want to make sure that there's a conviction. Right?
All I know is I flip my ballot and I have never voted for a medical examiner.
Well, they probably usually run unopposed.
Doesn't
So they
matter.
might-
I still flip and I go through. It's all judges. But I would have noticed on a local Minnesota election if there was a medical examiner.
Sometimes there's, like, not
There's
bailiff,
random shit on there.
not sheriff.
Well, right. But other small, like, school board, I vote on, like, almost all of that shit.
Yeah. Okay. Next. Okay, moving on.
I'm going to drag
I'm
this
so
out.
hot. Okay. And I haven't had dinner. Okay, but then the
neither.
the unthinkable the unthinkable
Speaking of
occurred.
unthinkable.
A single autopsy in 1991 was the crack that would shatter Erdman's entire empire. On December 22nd, 1991, a man named Robert Craig Newman, he went by Craig,
Bobby Craig, Bobby Joe Newman.
was found dead in his home in, I don't know how to say this, Levelland, Texas. Levelland, Texas.
Yeah. Cleveland.
Cleveland. He was just 41 years old. I did read in some places that he was 48. I don't know which is true.
They're both young.
The New York Times said 41. That's what I'm going with. And so an autopsy was ordered to determine his sudden cause of death. When Dr. Erdman arrived in Hockley County to perform the autopsy, a cop on the case made an offhand remark in front of him, speculating that drugs must be involved because the guy was so young to have died so suddenly. So the cop was like, I bet it's drugs, probably drugs, whatever. And Erdman
Smoking and driving.
heard that. And indeed, Erdman's findings determined that Mr. Newman had died of a cocaine overdose. Case closed.
All right.
About 1,600 counties in the U.S. elect coroners.
That's crazy.
They are paid employees. They make about $6,000 a year and get health insurance. But they don't do autopsies.
$6,000 a year? 60.
No, it says 6,000. I think it's not a full-time job. You just have to show up and...
That's not even that's like a 2-month job.
Coroners pronounce people dead and sign death certificates.
Okay, so they're not doing autopsies.
You
They're just
don't even
showing
have
up.
to have any medical training to be a coroner in a lot of these counties.
I want to run for Hennepin coroner.
Okay. So, cocaine overdose. Not so fast. Craig Newman's surviving family was perplexed.
He doesn't do a coke.
They were incredulous. They insisted that Craig never used drugs. Like, this was completely out of character. That cannot be right. But investigators brushed them off until Newman's brother, and I also read in some sources his adult son,
Newman's own.
Newman's own.
salad, until his salad dressing family member noticed a strange detail on the autopsy report.
He had a tail?
No. Look. They noticed that the precise weight of Craig's spleen was listed on the autopsy report. Because remember, it's routine to take the organs out and
measure
and weigh each organ.
Yeah.
Yep. Routine procedure throughout the course of an autopsy. So all the organs are there and all their weights are listed. And there is a weight listed for the spleen. This was puzzling because, well, Craig Newman didn't have a spleen.
Oh, shit.
It's a kidney.
It had been medically removed years before his death. I don't know if he got to keep it. Don't ask.
Did he keep it?
I was just about to ask.
So they wondered, could Dr. Erdman have removed and weighed it through? Like how could he have done that?
You've got the wrong guy.
So with the family's full-throated permission, Newman's body was exhumed, and there were no autopsy incision marks on it.
Oh, my
None.
God.
What?
He never did it. He just went, the cop said it was cocaine. I'm going to rule it cocaine. I'm going to make some shit up. I'm going to speed through these 3,000 autopsies a year. Be home by dinner time.
Never cut him open, never weighed shit. Just was like, yeah, spleens are usually around this weight. And
Just wanted to get to his Jersey Mike's. Didn't want to get his hands dirty.
Yep. Jesus.
So another autopsy was ordered, or more accurately, the first autopsy to actually be done. And lo and behold, this time it showed that Craig Newman had died of a heart attack and not a cocaine overdose.
Oh my God. How many of his
for
fucking
God's
determinations
sakes.
had to be
for
thrown
real.
out?
So, side note, I feel like if you were going to be shady at your job as a fucking coroner, but you wanted to stay under the radar, wouldn't
At
you
least
just say,
cut the body open.
or wouldn't you say heart attack rather than cocaine overdose?
Right.
Which is
That's so
pretty
specific.
Yeah.
And also way provable.
Right.
Yeah.
Toxicology report.
Oh my God, I found our dirty water photo. Look at that.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That is dirty water.
It's just a lot of sebum and sweat and
Clogs.
clogged pores. Okay. Makeup you're already wearing. Okay. So it didn't take long for Dr. Erdman to be indicted by a grand jury on charges of falsifying an autopsy, but they only have this one case so far. Meanwhile, he resigned his Lubbock County job, citing being, quote, overworked. It's yeah,
I
bro.
bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
But by this point, the floodgates were opened. The accusations came pouring in. In Odessa, Texas, Erdman had been assigned a suspected murder case in which the victim had been shot in the head. So they're pretty soup sure it's a murder, whatever.
Yeah.
He was tasked with removing the head following the post-mortem examination and sending it to a specialist forensic artist in Austin to have it reconstructed for analysis of the bullet wound and further testing. So what the investigators needed was a mock-up of the head so they could prove the velocity and the angle or whatever of the bullet wound in court later on. So he was supposed to do a regular autopsy, and then when that was done, decapitate the body and literally send the head off to Austin to a forensic artist.
Freaking yikes.
Yeah. But the head never made it to Austin. In fact, it went missing.
To a coworker's desk.
To Lucy's Curiosities cabinet.
I wish.
And with the head lost, the bullet wound couldn't be examined. And since the bullet wound was the cause of death, that case remains unsolved to this day. They weren't able to prosecute.
Oh my God. This shit has
Jesus.
so many consequences.
Oh, we're not even close to all the consequences.
Oh, no.
Another instance of Erdmann's incompetence and negligence was possibly even more egregious. One man spent months in jail after being charged with the death of his infant son. A proper autopsy, I believe they exhumed the remains after all this shit came to light, and then did a proper autopsy, revealed that the baby's death had been an accident.
Oh, how long was he in jail?
Months.
Oh, for the most horrific thing.
Yep.
Oh, my fucking
And
God.
His whole life just completely and utterly shattered, and you're in jail awaiting trial for murder.
Yeah, and now public opinion is that you killed your kid.
Yeah.
And that's pretty fucking hard to erase even after
Yeah.
something like this.
Being in prison for killing your kid, can you imagine the other people in prison?
His whole everything about this man's life was just taken
Ruined.
away. Ruined.
Oh, my God.
I don't know what happened with his relationship. I don't know if he was married or got divorced or what from this, unfortunately, but I know that the father sued for wrongful imprisonment and the case was settled for $15,000.
$15,000?
Yep.
That's
Oh
it?
my God.
There's probably a cap.
I thought you were going to say 15 million, and I was like, okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Ugh. I know it was in the 90s, but that's still
That's
nothing.
pennies. That is nothing.
Yeah.
That is it's a fucking insult. I'm speechless.
Jesus Christ. Did they ever find that head?
No, they've never found the head. Yep. There's so much more about this guy. When I'm done, Lucy especially, look into this guy because there's even more shit that I did not have time to cover. But it was like that cremation business where they just had shit piled around.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was
Like
was
legs.
part of.
He was just making money
He was just
by accepting these jobs, and the only way to keep up was to not actually do the jobs. And people suffered so immensely because of it. Because he's a fucking greedy pig.
Well, this is arguably 10 times worse than the cremation thing.
It's all bad. But yes, this is
At
the
least those
cremation
people
thing.
are
I
already
feel
dead.
like with
This guy sat in jail. This is criminal
Right,
justice
the cremation
stuff.
thing doesn't have the same gravity of consequences. It's just the utter disrespect and shock and horror of that is bad enough. But
with
fucking
this guy, it wasn't like he was just faking autopsies and not performing them because he just was greedy and it was all about the money. He would do some of them. He would just sometimes do them wrong, or he would cut off a body's head and then it disappeared. Why couldn't he have just mailed it? What did he do with it? What is that's not a
God.
money motivation there.
I guess.
You know?
I guess unless he sold the specimen.
Well, yes, there is speculation about that too, which I did not have time to get into.
Yeah.
As the news came out, former colleagues started to talk to the press about Erdmann's strange work habits. He showed up in a head-to-toe bean suit for work, for example.
How unprofessional.
He would have prime rib with all the fixins for lunch. No, I'm kidding.
The kitchen fixins.
Like the fact that he would bring his 13-year-old son to autopsies, which is
I mean,
Lucy's
poor Kermit.
Yeah. Kids, bring your kid to work day.
well,
Or that he would casually carry around body parts and store them in his refrigerator. Or even the fact that he routinely mixed up his left from his right.
Kinda important.
Yeah.
I do that too, but
Well,
Yeah, but you're not cutting people or
well,
things.
on the autopsy report, he would mix it up sometimes, and they'd be like, "You mean the bullet wound was on his left,
oh my god,
shoulder or
what
whatever?"
a disaster.
And then sometimes he'd be called to be an expert witness at trial, and he would fuck it up, and then they'd have to be like, "I think you misspoke," and he'd be like, "Oh
Don't
yes, I
you
misspoke."
mean leading the witness.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
he was a fucking
What a
idiot.
nightmare.
Also, I was dying to know if the mixing up left and right thing was somehow could be related to psychopathy. Whatever. I went down a whole rabbit hole. Then I ran out of time. So I don't have an answer. Okay.
Weird. What made you think that?
I feel like I read that somewhere, but equally the gals misremember, so I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Scientists
I've
get
never
at
heard
me.
that. Okay.
Maybe from like Dr. Death. Like there were some things there.
I was going to say, this is sounding almost Dr. Death-like.
He would like
holes in
mix
his
shit up,
scrubs.
and then it was like, oh, you are off your rocker. Okay.
After I just got done saying, I do that sometimes.
Yeah. Case of anecdata right
Must
here.
be true.
Okay.
Psychopathy.
So on September 21st, 1992, Dr. Ralph R. Erdman, and I definitely personally doubt his medical qualifications from
He went
Mexico.
to Trump Medical University
I don't
in
know. Probably.
Mexico campus.
Yeah, I've never seen any source list
Mexico campus.
which like institution he supposedly graduated from there. So I don't know. Also, he had to surrender his medical license anyway. He pleaded no contest to 7 felony counts of falsifying autopsies in Lubbock, Hockley, and Dickens counties. The plea agreement sentenced him to 10 years probation.
For 7 felonies?
What? Probation? That's it?
Well, 200 hours of community service.
200 hours of free autopsies.
And he had to pay some restitution. So how much restitution do you think he should have to pay?
I bet he paid $20. I bet he got paid somehow.
17 grand
I was going to say, there's no way he paid.
in restitution. And his retainer, he got paid $140,000 annually base pay for decades doing this shit. And that's the restitution
that's not even
he had
like,
to pay.
that's like barely a month paycheck for him. And he'd been doing this for years.
County coroner should be so lucky.
Plus the cost of some of the exhumations. There were 7 exhumations, and
He had to pay for that?
He had to pay for that, and he had to pay for the reburials, and he had to pay for the second autopsies.
Good,
for those
good.
7.
I'm glad they fucking charged his ass for all that shit. That's
Did
the
he
least
pay?
he could fucking do.
Yes. Part of his probation was that he couldn't own any guns either. Oh God, I guess
It
that's
is
really hard in
Texas.
Texas. Yeah. So there could have been way more than 7 felony counts, but as Tommy Turner, the Lubbock County Special Prosecutor, put it, quote, "We started digging up bodies, and when we were 7 for 7, we decided that in the interest of judicial economy, we didn't have to go further to prove that this guy was a liar."
In the interest of judicial economy.
I mean, I get it. I don't want to pay that taxpayer money digging all these fucking poor folks up either.
Yeah,
but
I mean, like, where do you draw the line? You know, like 7 for 7 of the ones that they chose to dig up, they were all fucked or not done.
Yeah.
it's just so shitty because, like, obviously judicial economy, but like any case that his testimony or his work would have been referenced in has to be.
We'll get to it.
Oh God.
This is like that Chicago judge in your case, Amanda.
But that wasn't the end of this story. The ripple effects of this man's decades-long autopsy grift
Decades.
decades-long
autopsy grift.
are
New
still
band name, I
being
call it. We are decades-long autopsy grift.
I just kind of feel like it's maybe a mouthful, and it's also like
No.
a lot to print on the t-shirt. And so
Don't care.
how would you feel if we just shortened it to autopsy grift?
No, you're out of the band.
Ted's already in favor, I asked him.
Fuck Tad.
DLAG.
Tad's a bitch.
I'm the lead singer.
I'm the
Tad's
lead
just
singer.
the drummer.
He's a fucking bass player.
Okay. There were accusations that crucial evidence was, quote, ghoulishly or criminally mishandled by Erdman's.
Foolishly mishandled.
Well, yeah, he disappeared ahead. He had legs in his fridge.
I
That
know,
is
but that's
the
the best
description. I am
Ghoulishly
only.
mishandled.
They're
They're opening
ghoulishly
for
mishandled this
autopsy grift.
situation.
Honestly, ghoul as a word, it alone,
It's
and all of
beautiful.
its variations, totally underutilized.
It really is.
Okay.
So this has been going on, they think, since the early 1980s. So they were just
Reminds me
like,
of goulash.
So defense attorneys across the state started to appeal as many as 20 capital murder cases.
Oh,
Like death row cases, and it's Texas.
damn.
And dozens of other prosecutions.
Oh,
This motherfucker.
And suddenly, DAs throughout the state began to fret. Accusations started to fly that prosecutors had not only been aware of, but sanctioned Erdman's practices so that they could win cases.
Because he's clearly, he'll take suggestion. The cop's saying, oh, it was coke.
Yeah.
Must have been smoking and driving. All right, put it on the fucking autopsy report.
and if he's so lazy and any higher up or like a judicial person knows his grift,
Yep.
they could probably be like, "Hey, I'll give you
Yeah.
$100 to not do this autopsy."
I know who we should get to do this autopsy on this case.
I
Yeah.
guarantee you he took bribes. I guarantee it.
Were they now trying to cover up other cases that Erdman had fucked up to protect their own precious win-loss records?
Yes.
Possibly.
No, certainly.
Linda Norton, a former assistant medical examiner from Dallas, said that Erdman routinely performed made to order autopsies that support a police version of a story, end quote.
Knew it.
And that
Made to
some of
order
his
autopsies.
and that some of his findings were so wrong as to be an insult to the intelligence of an average human being.
It's literally
He
like
got away with it for so long.
he essentially ordered autopsy dupe paperwork on Etsy for decades. And that's like,
He was
that's what
making
he
shit
submitted.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't have to. He had the real letterhead.
Right. But it's like, it's that stupid. It's that egregious. It's that it's that false and fake.
Well, yeah. Cocaine overdose when it was a heart attack.
Sure, why
Unreal.
not?
Don Hurley, a defense attorney from Lubbock, appealed a murder case claiming that Erdman had falsified a toxicology report.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Quote, I believe that the sun will come up tomorrow, that there was a conspiracy between the prosecution and Erdman to say whatever was necessary to get a conviction, and I don't have any doubt that there is a cover-up now, end quote. Yeah, he's falsifying
Wow.
toxicology reports. He could just be
Yup.
like, this person who had this in their system, they were drunk. Must have been drinking and driving.
Yeah. Holy shit. The power in this situation.
And you have a special set of skills that no one else in that investigation team has.
Right.
And it's
right. So who's
expensive
gonna
and
stop?
time consuming, so they're not going to routinely have a second opinion.
Correct.
Who's working with this guy? Does he have like
No.
employees,
I didn't-
underlings?
I didn't read about any. And he's also a contractor, so he shows up. He doesn't have his own facility. He
like a
shows
substitute.
up. Yeah. And he's
Uses
like,
their fucking morgue.
yeah.
Rude.
Runs because you can perform an autopsy by yourself.
Yeah. Most
It's
do.
not like you don't need two people.
Yeah.
So yeah. Holy shit.
So who's going to stop him? You know, this
Right.
family finally was like, no, you don't. You're not listening to us. It's not
We're
just
not
that,
just
like,
in denial.
yeah,
like, he
we're not just in
legit-
denial about our loved one's drug use. Like, he
Right.
really didn't. And oh shit, he didn't fucking have a spleen, motherfuckers. Like,
Yeah.
something is wrong. Like,
Yeah.
that's what it took.
God.
Yep.
Wow.
Because no one would have
No,
believed
they
them.
brushed them off until they
Yeah.
had that fact.
Unreal.
Cripes.
Erdman, who had always been a huge help to prosecutors, had now become a liability. Stephen Loesch, or maybe Loesch, of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund's Capital Punishment Project, won the right to exhume the body of a murder victim, claiming that Erdman botched or possibly never performed that autopsy in the case
Yup.
of his client that he was trying to defend. So during the hearing for this request, Erdman invoked the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination 200 times.
Oh my god. Okay, Trump.
Yep.
Holy shit.
So this...
So he just sat there silently, essentially,
Yeah.
for his entire
no
fucking
comment,
examination.
No comment. Oh, yeah. All right, plead
Holy
the fifth,
shit.
whatever. So this story is pretty tragic. In Canyon, Texas, 19-year-old Douglas Palmer was charged with the capital murder of 72-year-old Hilton Merriman in the course of a, quote, burglary gone very, very wrong. And I will explain why burglary is in quotes. So Palmer and a couple of friends, they're teenagers or like early 20s, agreed to break into their friend John Peter Garcia's former residence in order to take back possessions so that he wouldn't have to share them with his ex-wife. So basically, these dudes are friends, and this guy got a divorce, and now he's...
And some of his shit's at his ex-wife's house, and he just wants to get his shit back.
Yeah, it's like an Xbox or whatever, you know? So they're like, yeah, man, I'll help you break into this trailer and get your own shit back from your ex-wife. Like, does that count as it is a burglary, but it's not like they were like...
Right.
You know?
Strangers.
It's not malicious. It's his stuff.
It's fucked
it's
up.
Petty.
It's petty. And like,
there's no reason to expect that violence would be involved.
They chose a time when she wouldn't be home.
Yep. They weren't trying to scare her.
No. They wanted...
I would do this with either of you.
Right. We would agree to do this for any of us. Yeah, exactly.
I think I have done this.
Probably.
Yeah.
Breaking into someone's locker when you know they're in fifth period.
Yeah.
So the friend is totally in on this. And again, like I said, they chose a time when his ex-wife wouldn't be home and they could just break into this trailer and get the shit and go. So instead, but the friend's in on it. The friend wants it. The friend requests it. But I think maybe the friend wasn't physically involved in the break-in and the taking. Maybe so that he could have a strong alibi when like the ex-wife is like, well, did you fucking break in? I'll give
me that Xbox back. I'll take you to court.
Right.
Like,
and so I think he wasn't there so that he could have the alibi and be like, I was at work, man. Look at my time card.
You got robbed. That's not on me.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't have to give the Xbox back.
So he's not there physically.
Smart.
Also, this is happening in the 80s or 90s. So there's no cell phones and there's no
Xbox,
GPS.
but that's still what I'm referencing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The friend is giving directions to the group of friends to the mobile home, but he's not physically with them to identify the mobile home.
Okay, so they went into the wrong one.
So Palmer took a wrong turn and ended up at this 72-year-old Hilton Merriman's house.
Not the ex-wife.
Not the ex-wife. So the group went in unarmed because they thought that no one will be home and they're just going to steal the shit and get out. They thought the house was going to be empty. All of a sudden, they don't even realize yet that they're in the wrong place until all of a sudden the elderly Merriman surprises them and hit Palmer with a flashlight over the head because he was defending his home.
Right. What does this fucking old bastard know?
Yeah.
Hilton Merriman is a dude.
He's he's a 72-year-old dude, like Clint Eastwood. Like, you know, someone's breaking into his house. He doesn't know. He hides behind the door with a weapon.
Stand your ground.
Palmer and his friends were like shocked that somebody was home. Like, who the fuck is this old dude? What the fuck? Nobody was supposed to be here. Right. He just hit me with this heavy flashlight. Like, fuck. They're reacting. And they did beat and kick Merriman before fleeing the scene. Which, obviously, like, beating an old man in the course of a robbery, like, none of this is good.
No. But it's like...
It's so unplanned.
Yeah.
And reactive. Like, it depends on how long and how hard they beat him. Like, if they just... Whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Everyone is just freaking out in the moment, and it's utter chaos.
Yeah.
And...
was not supposed to be this way.
Yeah.
It's really fucking sad.
Yeah. So Hilton Merriman was still alive when they left, and that could be proven. But he later died, and of what exactly is up for debate.
Oh my God. No, I forgot. The autopsies. God damn it.
So he's still alive, but he's old, and he's been beaten up, and he's left there, and then he later dies, and we don't know what he died of, and his body is discovered in his home 36 hours later. So Erdman had performed the initial autopsy, and it showed very healthy tissue of Merriman's, indicating that he had died of blunt force trauma. Like, there is nothing wrong with this guy. He is super duper healthy.
He would have been just fine.
He would have been just fine if he hadn't been beaten. Therefore,
they killed him.
They killed him. This testimony helped convict Palmer, again, he's 19, under a capital murder charge, and he was put on death row. But later, it turned out that Erdman had mixed up the tissues of Merriman with those of a man in his 20s.
Stop.
And many folks in their late 70s or early 70s, I forget, Merriman had a number of health struggles, including heart disease. So it's entirely possible that his death was due to a heart attack following the beating and not the blunt force trauma of the beating itself. And while this may sound semantic, it actually makes a really big difference in terms of charging and sentencing Palmer.
Correct. Palmer might still be held responsible for this man's death, but the charges are huge.
It makes
now
a
he's
big
on
difference.
fucking death row.
Sentence.
This could have been like a manslaughter situation
Or an attempted murder, but not
Yup.
murder. It would go
Capital
from attempted
fucking
murder. To it would go from attempted murder to murder, I think. If you like have a heart attack after. Like, yeah. So, and obviously, like, no one is saying that Douglas Palmer did nothing wrong. Like, he
fucked
still
up,
responsible.
but he's also a stupid kid. I think about the shit that we did, and if one
shit
thing had just
gone
gone
wrong.
a little differently,
Yeah.
that it could have been any of us.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. We got up to a lot of dumb shit. And if we had just been
Every
a little bit
teenager
unlucky.
does. Yep.
And we have all the privilege in the fucking world. So if we didn't have that privilege.
1000%. Stories like this are just so fucking heartbreaking. Nobody fucking wins.
So after pleading no contest to his felony counts, the now disgraced Erdman left Texas and moved to the Seattle area. He moved to a suburban cul-de-sac and got a job at Rose Hill Junior High.
Oh, ish.
As a
Performing
teaching
autopsies?
Fuck off. Why didn't I go to that high school?
Seriously.
Oh, really?
As a teaching and school bus assistant. And like, I understand how difficult it is to get school bus drivers, but maybe not this man.
Yuck.
He did tell the school, like he informed them that he had been charged with a felony, or I don't know if he wrote convicted. I think he might have said charged with a felony, whatever. He checked the
Hired
box.
him anyway.
And that he was on parole, but the school hired him anyway, thinking that his medical background made him well qualified.
To be a school bus assistant.
Well, I mean, if there's a medical
just
emergency
thought,
with a
like,
kid on the bus,
sure.
maybe that could come in handy.
Right.
But it's like, I don't think I'd trust this fucking guy to jump in when he lost a head and fucking...
They don't know all of that. They don't have the internet.
Oh, that's right.
Lost a head.
God.
He was like, look, I'm a doctor. I practiced all these years, but, I didn't kill anyone. Like, it didn't hurt anyone, but, like, I have this felony charge from one of my cases, and, I'm
totally
starting
see him
all
saying
over,
that shit.
and now,
Okay, yeah, you're right. I could see that.
And they're like, well, if he was a doctor for so many decades, like, he was
How bad could it
poor
be?
man, his whole life was ruined for one mistake. Like, they don't know the details. And they could have found them out, but they didn't, because they would have had to, like, drive
Or make
make a phone call
calls.
to Texas. You know what I
absolutely
mean?
not.
So it didn't happen. So they hired him.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
They also talked to his parole officer, who said that he would not be a danger to children. So they did do some due diligence. But anyway, in May 1995, police were sent to Erdman's house during an investigation into possible child abuse, because he had, remember, he has his son. He might have other
my
kids, I don't know,
God.
or maybe involving kids at the school. I don't know. The child abuse allegation was never proved, and I don't know specifically what it was. But when cops asked Erdman's family members if there were guns in the house, they said that there were.
And he's not supposed to have them.
Indeed, police found, and they did not need a warrant to search for possible parole violations. And like someone living in the home said that there was this parole violation.
Yeah, so they had reason to enter the property.
They could just go in and search that whole dang thing right then and
head to
there.
toe.
They found a trunk containing 122 guns, shotguns and handguns, plus a fully automatic M16 rifle,
Jesus Christ.
whatever that means.
For protection.
For hunting.
Erdman went to prison for a year on the gun charge in Washington State. And then soon after he was released, he was sent back to prison in Texas for 8 more years because his probation was revoked. So he got a much harsher sentence for fucking up his probation than for everything he did before.
Wow.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And he hadn't been in prison before. So Ralph R. Erdman remained in Texas after he was released from prison. He died in Fort Worth, Texas in 2010 at the age of 83.
Bye.
I don't know whether an autopsy was performed on him. I doubt it.
Nah.
His obituary was glowing, reading, "His impressive curriculum vitae and military record precede him. Was a man who believed in hard work, integrity, and a deep compassion for the welfare of others."
Oh.
Is it opposite day?
Uh-huh.
No.
Wow.
Quote, "His life was a portrait of what determination and dedication to God, love, and liberty can truly be."
Ew. Ew. Gross.
They swapped the obits with someone else's.
Oops.
This was for a 20-year-old. I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. So sorry. It makes a lot more sense now that we caught it. Okay. Yeah. What a fucking asshole.
I hate it.
Ew.
You could do a whole podcast just on the different cases, like looking into the different cases that he fucked over.
You absolutely could.
I don't like that. I don't like him. Rotten hell.
Rotten hell. Rotten hell.
Okay,
Well,
so that's
great.
my case.
Cool.
Thanks.
Good job.
So fun.
Let's take another mental health
Yeah.
while I eat these sweet tarts.
Yeah, you have more sweet tarts, and we'll be back for my case.
You know us, and you know that we're big fans of premium brands. Like Jenny Kane is one of my favorites. I love my Jenny Kane wardrobe. They've got shoes. They've got the coziest sweaters.
Yep.
I recently got the alpaca cocoon crew neck sweater.
So good.
I
I feel like a better person when I'm wearing my Jenny Kane stuff. I just feel elevated, timeless,
Put together.
sophisticated, yet down
Yeah.
to earth.
Jenny Kane has flowy dresses, lightweight cotton cardigans, heavier weight cotton sweaters. They're just perfect for any time of year to elevate versions of all your everyday basics, not to mention the most incredible home essentials. And clogs, people. They have the cutest shoes. Jenny Kane is here to make you live your best summer, fall, winter, whatever, yet.
Yeah, like Lucy said, it's perfect for any season, but as it's still quite warm in my part of the world, I keep turning to my new Jenny Kane leopard slip dress. So their dresses are the it item. I am obsessed. It is just my go-to everyday uniform. I get compliments every time I wear it, and it is so comfortable, and I can wear it now when it is really uncomfortably warm outside, and I know I can wear it transitioning into fall, and then even with like tights and a Jenny Kane sweater in the winter. So it's perfect. And Jenny Kane is known for their super luxe cashmere sweaters, of which I own possibly too many, but trust us, they do summer cotton better than anyone. So check out the Cotton Fisherman sweater. It is a bestseller every year. Also,
I love their fisherman sweater.
oh, it's so cute. The Chloe cardigan, very beachy. Everything in their collection is designed so intentionally. You can style pieces together without a second thought. Everything goes well together. It's effortless. It's simple. It's beautiful. Just run, don't walk.
Find your forever pieces at jennykane.com. Our listeners get 15% off your first order when you use code WINE, W-I-N-E, at checkout. That's 15% off your first order at JENNIKAYNE.com, promo code WINE. Let getting dressed be one less thing to worry about, and treat your wardrobe.
Read it.
Okay, so as I said earlier in this episode, at the time I was writing this, I was not well. So I had to go a little bit lower impact this week. And by lower impact, I mean less research. So, lower impact on me, not on you, on me. So I decided to look up stories about some of the most shocking autopsies and like medical examiners and medical students, like
Weighing
creepiest moments, basically.
I love a potpourri.
On the job, yeah. So I took to Reddit and beyond to find some of the weirdest stories from coroners, medical examiners, people in the death industry, all over the world. So instead of a single case for you today, I'm just going to try to creep the fuck out of you for like 15, 20 minutes.
Love it. Perfect.
So a couple of years ago, user Nico Jake posted the following question on Ask Reddit. And it said, autopsy doctors of Reddit, what was the strangest discovery you've made while performing an autopsy? And here are some of the
Great
responses.
question.
Right?
Nico Case.
Good job, Nico Jake.
Nico Jake. Nico Case, isn't that
Nico
a singer?
Case. Yes. So here are some of the responses. We have this guy who had some heart issues. He came to the hospital with some heart failure symptoms, got progressively worse and worse, and then just couldn't go anymore. This guy had extensive imaging, testing, the whole deal. Well, when we were doing the organs, everything looked fairly okay. Even the heart didn't look that bad for the picture that they gave us, like the picture of the situation. Then I slice open the liver, which was admittedly a bit larger than normal, and boom, it was about 80% replaced by nasty, nasty abscesses.
Oh.
I'm talking liters of pus.
Whoa.
Did they taste it?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Did they keep it? He didn't have a fever, and they didn't see anything on imaging, clinical, or even blood cultures. We were never sure if the heart issues maybe worsened before he got to becoming septic. But that is still the largest liver abscess I've ever seen in my life.
So was it cirrhosis of the liver or like liver cancer or like
It wasn't either of those things.
it was just sometimes
like an abscess that had
just-
formed into like an active infection that for whatever reason
Just stayed in the liver.
stayed right in the liver and didn't move to his bloodstream, didn't show up on any of the other, and he didn't show other symptoms.
Bodies are incredible.
That's-
I
it's
wonder
wild.
how much the liver tissue itself had to like recede to make room for all the infection.
Yeah,
Like
I
how
mean-
well his liver was even functioning.
could
I-
not
probably
have
not
been
well.
great.
Yeah,
No.
probably not well. If he had an enlarged liver and it was because he had the biggest pus pocket inside of it. Pus pocket.
Bus back. I'm so hungry.
Okay, here's another one. A lady with cirrhosis died, and when she arrived, she had a swollen belly. We assumed it was fluid buildup in her liver due to the cirrhosis, but when we opened her abdomen, this thick, clear, gelatinous mucus poured out.
Oh.
We measured it at over 2 liters of sticky gel.
Oh, it was her yellow bile.
It's clear.
Her humors were off.
No, but
Turns
you know what
out-
I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Turns out she had an undiagnosed mucinous tumor on her ovary, which had spread all through her abdomen.
Oh.
Can you
Whoa.
believe? That sounds so painful.
It's like when we were doing frogs, we were dissecting frogs, and like one for every classroom accidentally got a female frog, and that just the eggs like sprayed out when you cut it open.
She's a squirter.
I Googled liver abscess and
Oh no. Why would you do that?
well, this might explain why it stayed in just the liver and not the whole body.
Oh, okay. Bring it.
The majority of liver abscesses are categorized as pyogenic or amoebic, although a minority is caused by parasites and fungi.
Fungi. Cool.
So parasites would show up in the blood work and I am talking out of my ass here, but maybe fungi don't show up and that's
Maybe.
why, you know?
That's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
Works for me.
Mushrooms in the liver.
I'm going to be just like Erdman and just lock that in.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah,
was that the
exactly. Write it
doctor? Was
down.
the Dr. Erdman?
Cocaine overdose of the liver.
There we go.
It's in the book now.
So gross. Okay, this one reminds me of Lucy. I met a medical examiner at a friend's party recently. That reminds me of Kenyon telling
did.
the fucking Mobskin story.
Recently I went to the home of a couple of Wine and Crime fans here
Oh,
in
yeah.
Louisville. And thank you guys. And they had a guest there who is like a bigwig in the bourbon world, but then also side hustle is a county coroner elected.
Because it doesn't
Love
take
it.
that much time, apparently.
Sure,
Yeah.
but this is a medical examiner, not a coroner.
Whatever.
But
She just
so,
said county coroner.
yeah, I know. But
We're
in the story I'm telling, it's a
okay.
medical examiner. Jesus Christ. Okay. I met a medical examiner at a friend's party recently, and he told us that once he received the body of a cheese factory worker who fell and drowned / burned in molten cheese.
Ooh.
It was super awkward
Queso.
because the corpse they received was embedded in a chunk of cheese that had cooled down.
What kind of cheese?
I like probably like something that could like a fondue cheese or like a nacho cheese.
Any
Oh,
of those
queso.
cheap like cheese block
Yeah.
Velveeta.
Cheese factory. He said
Wow.
he said it felt like carving
cheese product.
He said it felt like carving out a corpse from the leftovers of a fondue.
Wow.
Can you even fucking imagine?
Yes.
Yum.
I'm imagining it right now.
All right, I got more. Spoke with a pathologist at a conference. During her training at the medical examiner's office, they were doing an autopsy on a body that was found by a river.
Oh.
They did a CT and something looked funny about his gut. When they opened him up, his stomach moved. It was a snake that had burrowed inside his body.
Cool.
It struck and bit one of the techs before they realized what was going on.
No.
Snakes on a
Snake.
morgue.
Snakes in a morgue. Can you imagine a snake jumping out of your
Dead body.
cadaver's training body?
Was it
and
a
biting you in
poisonous
the
snake?
arm?
Well, the guy died in a swamp. Or
He
just
died
by a
and was
river.
left by a river, and the snake had burrowed in.
Cool.
Yeah,
his
it's
body.
warm.
Yep.
I could totally see a snake doing that.
Yeah. It's like the AT-AT. Safe.
The what?
Oh, not the AT-AT. Sorry. I'm high. I'm thinking of, it's a Star Wars thing. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, another one for this. We had a guy who took a bullet to the back of the head, execution style, and after the x-rays determined the bullet was not in his head anymore, we couldn't find the exit wound anywhere. Once we took out the
Nostril.
brain, we discovered it exited perfectly out of one of his nostrils,
Oh my God, I
leaving
was
no
joking.
trace of an external exit
How
wound.
did she know that?
She
I
knew.
was totally joking.
That's what happened.
Cool.
Yeah, angled execution style.
Yeah.
out the nose.
Wow.
It's anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
Nada es imposible.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Si
my
se puede.
God.
I love this.
And
El Niño.
old.
Soy pregunta.
What are we doing? You're a question, or do you have a question?
Oh, I thought we're just
Pregunta.
joking.
Oh, that's what I said when I said I was pregnant. Soy pregunta.
No, that means I am.
We
a
covered this
question.
already.
I know.
You're
Okay.
high. Okay.
An old shut-in died from natural causes, me, and his body was found a few weeks after he passed.
Me.
During the autopsy, the coroner found
Tag yourself.
Tag yourself. I'm the old shut-in.
Well, I'd never be by a river, so
Hell no. Actually, I'm
I
the
died
cheese
in
fa-
cheese.
I'm
I'm the cheese. It was
We're
Parmesan.
all the cheese.
I'm the cheese.
I'm the cheese. During the autopsy, the coroner found what appeared to be thin copper wire running the length of the decedent's arms, legs, and torso.
What?
Inside?
It was embedded under the skin with a single point or outlet emerging at the base of the neck.
Oh my God.
The man had no family, so no one ever found out how the wires got there or why.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is creepy as fuck.
Shocking. Yep.
Oh my God.
Little tiny
Maybe-
wires.
Maybe he was doing, what's the like bio-robotics thing?
Maybe. I don't know.
But it's like illegal to test on people. So there are
Sure.
like groups of people doing it themselves to themselves.
Yep. Yeah.
Just to like help Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Basically, just to move things forward.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this next one is shocking. Around Christmas 2002, I don't know where this, because again, this was just like a Reddit. I don't even know if this was in the US. This is somebody's submission. Around Christmas 2002, bartender Sean Doyle went out drinking with his friend Michael Wright and Michael's girlfriend. So the three of them all went out around Christmas to the bars. As they walked home, Michael thought Sean was hitting on his girlfriend. And witnesses later told the cops that they saw a man, quote, getting the shit beat out of him. And that he was heard screaming, "No, don't break my legs."
Oh my God.
And another witness said that he saw someone throw Sean down an open manhole.
Oh.
Why are there open manholes?
I don't know.
That's a real fight.
Yep.
Was the manhole full of rats?
Well, the drop was 18 feet.
Oh.
At the bottom was a pool of boiling or near boiling water from a broken hot water main.
Oh my God.
Sean Doyle did not die instantly.
No.
In fact, as first responders arrived, he was standing down in the boiling hot water, reaching up and screaming for help.
Amanda.
Oh my God.
No paramedic or firefighter could get down there because it was too hot.
Stop. Why was
So
this just a
it was over
hole
300 degrees
leading
in
to
this.
hell?
It's like in a steam tunnel, basically.
Oh my God.
Over 300 degrees. 4 hours later, when they could stop the flow of steam and hot water to be able to safely get him out, his body was recovered. His body temperature was over 125 degrees. And medical examiners think it's higher, but thermometers that they had access to didn't read any higher than
definitely.
Oh my God. Because why would they have to?
Yep.
Wasn't this like a plot line in like the Bone Collector?
I think so, or something like this happened. But the
someone
steam
was
pipe
tied
thing.
up in like steam pipe room and
Yeah.
steamed.
Oh my God.
So when the medical examiner saw the body on her table, she wrote that she thought he looked like he'd been steamed like a lobster. His entire outer layer of skin was gone, and his internal organs were literally cooked. Otherwise, he had no broken bones, no head trauma, which meant he was fully conscious as he boiled alive.
Slowly.
Over
Oh my God.
for flirting
Yeah.
with someone.
For maybe flirting with someone drunk.
Jesus.
We don't even know if he actually was. That's just what this other fucking guy who pushed him down a goddamn manhole thought was happening.
I want to know what happened to that guy. What a fucking...
I know.
Oh,
This is brilliant but horrifying. So Lucy's favorite combo.
love.
Quote, "My friend had a relative/friend of a parent that was a coroner and worked in forensics. One day, a body was pulled from a river, so the skin had shriveled, but they wanted to get fingerprints. So the forensics examiner cut the skin on one of the fingers so she could slide her own finger under the skin
They do that.
like a glove to smooth it out and give a fingerprint.
Yeah, babe. They soups do that.
I had no idea.
I guess
yeah.
it's cheaper to use your own finger slid in there, but you'd think they could have some sort of...
Well, to get it like rounded,
wearing a
finger
thing.
shaped,
Yeah,
if she's got
yeah.
a glove on.
She's got a glove on, and
Yeah.
then, she does the same movement that you would to get a fingerprint.
It's like putting on a glove.
Yeah. Blech. It's so gross. I hate it.
You're right. I do love that.
I knew you'd love it. Okay, so I have a couple of Hollywood autopsy results that I found fascinating.
yes. JFK.
No. So Elvis Presley, he died at age 42.
God, he was only
Raised-
42?
Only 42.
He looked awful.
Yeah, rode hard and put away wet.
Some rough living.
Ooh.
Elvis Presley's toxicology report showed high levels of codeine, Demerol, Dilaudid, Percodan, and that grooviest of 1970s drugs, Quaaludes.
Jeez, quite a cocktail.
Big cocktail. 2 doctors who conducted the King's autopsy found evidence of constipation, a common side effect of opiate use. In 2018, Dr. Howard Markle suggested on the PBS NewsHour site that the dethroned king, because it's famous that he was like found
On the toilet.
on the toilet, was struggling to do his business, and the strain caused the heart attack that killed him. And it's a very common thing when you use that many drugs, especially opiates, like they said, to get fucking blocked up.
Could have been the other way because having a heart attack also makes you have to poop a lot of times.
There you go.
Wow.
Snake eating. What came first? The chicken or the opiate?
Yeah.
Or the poop? I don't know.
Wow.
This one's obviously heartbreaking, but Robin Williams, he died at age 63. And this was fascinating. So, like, really fucking
he died
sad,
on
but
my
fascinating.
birthday.
Oh, maybe. Well,
I'll Google it.
happy birthday. Beloved actor and comedian Robin Williams died by suicide, according to his autopsy. And that is still true.
Yep.
However,
My birthday, 2014.
Oh, sad. His widow told CNN that despite Williams' past as a drug user, he had been sober for 8 years. And the thing that led him to such a dark state was Lewy body dementia discovered at the autopsy. So I knew about that. But what I didn't know is this next part. The condition is the second most common form of progressive dementia in the United States after Alzheimer's disease. And the only way to conclusively diagnose Lewy body dementia is via post-mortem autopsy of the brain.
Like CTE.
It doesn't show on any kind of scan. Like, they have to take out the brain.
Isn't that what they have to do for
But
CTE?
he had been diagnosed with something. Did they think it was Alzheimer's or they didn't know?
They knew he had signs of dementia, but they didn't know exactly what it was.
Got it. Okay.
And you will show a lot of those symptoms. So, like, you can be diagnosed with it, but it's, what do they call it? It's not a pathological diagnosis. It's like a psychological diagnosis. So you're diagnosed based off of the symptoms that present because there's no other scan or
They could do what
that they could do. So when you're alive, then they can autopsy your brain and take samples and slides and see what like the damage and deterioration is, and like like lobes will be shrunk and stuff like that, and then they can actually pathologically determine yes,
Like CT.
So exactly.
So did he choose to end his life because it was getting so bad or because of
I've read
the
that
dementia?
I've read that he was farther along
Correct.
and had more symptoms of the dementia than was ever like publicly known
put
at
out
the time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
and-
it was getting pretty bad.
So he wanted to end it?
I believe so. And I mean, I think he didn't want to put his wife and family through seeing him like that.
Oh, that's so sad.
It's all fucking tragic.
It's really sad.
But I didn't know that about the diagnosis thing. It was crazy.
I didn't know it was the second most common form of dementia
I
after
didn't know
fucking
that.
Alzheimer's.
Yeah,
I
I
had
didn't-
not heard of it till
I didn't know
him.
that either. The only time I'd heard about it was from that very famous death. And we're still learning more about it. But as far as I know, still now you cannot actually diagnose that fully without a post-mortem autopsy.
Dang.
Does Bruce Willis have the same thing?
I don't know if they know that it's
don't
Lewy
know.
body dementia, but he does suffer
has
dementia.
A different type of dementia.
We
Correct.
wouldn't know till he was dead.
Well, they could-
Frontotemporal. Yeah.
They could diagnose it
Right.
just from his
They
symptoms.
just couldn't confirm it.
They just couldn't pathologically confirm it. And then they could have, open him up and go, oh, he actually didn't have that kind of dementia. He had this, but it was showing signs of Lewy body, But
Yeah. Got it.
it's just, there's a lot of other conditions that are like that. I didn't realize that.
Why is it called Lewy body?
Probably
the guy
from,
who discovered it.
Yeah.
Or gal.
This is my last Hollywood autopsy, and this is obviously a very mysterious one. Brittany Murphy,
Yeah.
Oh.
who passed away age 32. So the mysterious death of Clueless and Uptown Girl star Brittany Murphy has baffled fans and experts alike. Murphy died on December 20th, 2009 from pneumonia. But how does a seemingly healthy 32-year-old die from such a treatable illness? A coroner's report later explained that Murphy's menstrual cycle had triggered anemia or iron deficiency, which weakened her immune system, causing her to succumb to the infection of pneumonia.
From having her period?
Yeah.
Well, think about it. When you get your period, I know my immune system gets even worse during my period.
But to kill. Oh my God. That's
Oh, and
so
if you're
sad.
already, and if you have
And I
other
get anemic.
co-occurring comorbidities and things like that. But yeah.
It's like how I got shingles at 28,
Yeah.
because
pretty much.
I just have a shitty immune system.
4 years following her death, Murphy's father, Angelo Bertolotti, commissioned a lab report which found high amounts of heavy metals in Murphy's hair, leading some to believe that she had been poisoned. What was even more suspicious was the death of Murphy's husband, screenwriter Simon Monjack, who died of similar circumstances just 5 months after his wife's death. But a toxicologist has thrown out the poisoning theory.
Oh.
As to why she had the heavy metals in her hair, that it was not, that they don't really know what that's from, but it's like not consistent with
Well, could it have been
poisoning.
like lead poisoning?
Was
Maybe.
the toxicologist named Erdman?
Oh my God. Now I gotta go find out. But it is still a mystery.
I feel terrible, but I never looked into it, and I think I always assumed that it was an overdose, but that's not it at all.
Well, that was what everyone assumed when the news first broke.
Right.
And then they got the toxicology results back, and it was like, oh shit, she's not doing drugs.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Brittany Murphy. I got
know.
that mixed up for a long time, and you were very talented.
R.I.P. But yeah, I just thought those were some fascinating tidbits. So that's my segment.
Fucking cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
honey.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I loved this episode.
It was a good
one. Not to toot my own horn.
Toot toot, babe.
I think the cheese one
Yeah.
There's a
really
Snake.
took the cake.
Gonna have to chew on that one for a while.
Tasty.
Okay, so
Special thanks to
thanks. We're Hot Girl Summer. Love you all. Bye.
Bye.
See ya next week. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Wine and Crime. Our cover art is by Kala Yip, music by Phil Young and Corey Wendell, editing by Jonathan Camp. Check out our website and blog at wineandcrimepodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Wine and Crime Pod. If you have questions, answers, or recommendations to share, email us at wineandcrimepodcast@gmail.com. Episodes are available on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, basically wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And if you like the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. It is the best way to spread the word. If you'd like to show your support, visit our Patreon page to keep this podcast and the wine flowing. Cheers!